So we are on day 5, the last day that we're going to be talking about the digestive system. So you guys know that your quiz today is going to cover concepts from the entire lesson, so go ahead and revise the whole lesson before actually starting the quiz. So in day 1, we talked about the mouth and the esophagus. We talked about how the mouth breaks down food using through mechanical digestion of chewing and through amylase, which breaks down starches into simpler sugars, which our body can use. And then we talked about how the esophagus pushes food from the mouth to the stomach through the process of peristalsis. Then we talked about how the stomach contains digestive enzymes like pepsin, which break down proteins into amino acids, and it also contains hydrochloric acid, which helps to break down food, and it also helps to kill bacteria which may enter the stomach or viruses or anything like that. Then we talked about how when all of this is digested, the stomach continues to break things down through peristalsis. That's another type of mechanical digestion. Anything left is called chyme, and it goes into your small intestines. And in your small intestines, the food gets further digested using these three: the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. And then throughout your small intestine, the food and the nutrients that have been broken down into their simplest form get absorbed using your villi. Your villi contain blood that is constantly circulating, so it absorbs those nutrients and it carries them to every other part of the body. This is why your small intestine is such an important part of your digestive system, because this is where almost all absorption of nutrients actually takes place. Okay? And if anything ever happened to your small intestine, even if you were able to digest your food, you would have no way of actually absorbing it, which means that it would be a useless process. So today what we're going to talk about is what happens after you leave your small intestine. So once you've left your small intestine, everything that has not been absorbed or anything that could not be broken down by any of your enzymes will move into your large intestine. Now, your large intestine is called your large intestine because it has a larger diameter than your small intestine, but technically it's not actually larger than your small intestine, right? Your small intestine has a massive surface area. Your larger intestine only has a larger diameter, which means that it's thicker, but it's not actually the same surface area, right? So your large intestine consists of 3 parts: the colon, which is the majority of your large intestine, the rectum, and the appendix. Now guys, the appendix is kind of, as far as we are aware, kind of a useless organ. Every once in a while, your appendix might get infected and burst, which would need to be removed surgically. And as far as we know, the appendix has no function. So remember when we talked about evolution, how we talked about vestigial structures like the wisdom teeth, how the wisdom teeth basically have no function, but they were very important to our ancestors. That's what the appendix is also believed to be, that maybe in the very far past, our ancestors used to use it, but we don't. It has no function to us, and it can be removed, and it won't affect your life in any way. All right, so the main parts that we're actually going to be talking about today are the colon and the rectum. All right, so the main function of the colon is that it pushes undigested food all the way out towards the rectum, okay? And inside of the colon, the main thing that is happening in there is that water is being absorbed from the chyme. So remember, when chyme leaves your small intestine, it's still very fluid. When it enters your colon, the water will start to become absorbed from it, and it'll start to turn into feces, which I'm sure you guys know it more commonly as stool, right? Now, once all of the water is removed from that, it becomes feces, and it goes and it gets stored inside of the rectum. Another very, very important function of the colon is that it stores beneficial or helpful bacteria. This bacteria is vital to our health. They create vitamins that we can't make ourselves. So let's say vitamins K and vitamins B. We need to get them from our food, and the bacteria help to break down that food and help to build these types of vitamins, right? So every once in a while, if you ever get like a stomach flu, sometimes these bacteria will be affected by that. You might end up getting diarrhea, which means that a lot of these bacteria are kind of leaving your body, right? Which is a huge issue. This is why a lot of people like to eat yogurt and other foods that are rich in these helpful bacteria to help make sure that the environment inside of your colon stays healthy for these bacteria to live in. All right, because remember, they are vital for our survival. Without them, we won't get these essential vitamins and nutrients. Okay? So, not much else really happens in the large intestine. You're not absorbing nutrients, you're just absorbing water and drying out the chyme and turning it into feces. And you're also getting all of these important vitamins from the bacteria that live in there. So once as much water has been removed from it as possible, the feces get moved through your colon and they get taken to your rectum. Your rectum is basically like a sack that stores your feces until you are ready to remove it from your body. So once you go to the toilet and you want to release it, that's what this job does. It just takes it out, right? And yeah, just so you know, babies don't actually have complete control of these muscles right here. This is why you can't potty train a baby until it's about 18 months to 2 years old, because to them, we develop control of this, which means that we can choose when to go to the bathroom and when not to, but babies cannot actually control that. So even if you took your 2-month-old baby and you tried to teach it how to use the bathroom properly, it wouldn't be able to do that because it hasn't created that that mind-muscle connection. However, these muscles that are in the colon, which are, peristalsis, those we actually will never have control over. So let me just show you guys 1 second how the peristalsis continues. So you guys remember here, the peristalsis pushes food through your small intestine and then it carries it to your colon, where peristalsis, the contraction of muscles, continues to push food until it reaches the end, right? All right, so now guys, the last thing we need to talk about, these are just rough estimates of how long it takes food to be digested. So you can see that it takes a couple of hours in each section. In your stomach, it takes about 2 to 24 hours to digest food, and this will all just depend on you and your own digestive system and how efficient it works, and also on the type of food that you've eaten. So if a type of food requires a longer time, it will take a longer time. And the longest area that takes during digestion is in your large intestine. Here, your water can continue to be absorbed from your food for 18 hours to 2 days long before it's actually able to leave your body. All right, so now guys, go ahead, review the lesson, and good luck on your quiz.